Shalom, shalom. Want to say all praises be to Abinawa, Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahweh Shai, Bahashem, Harakah, Kodash. Double honors to the apostles, was a quantum of great millstone who ruled well. Shalom to the sincere brethren. I came out there, God, to 4 winds, the 4 corners of the globe, pushing the truth, the good news of Yahweh Shai, proclaiming salvation to the elect of Israel, so-called Negroes, Latinos, and Native Americans, and proclaiming the downfall of Esau, Edom, the so-called white man and his wicked empire. So this is going to be following the realm of another World War III update, so to speak. Because, hey, World War III, as it says, is going to be a global affair, man. We know the epicenter of the ground battle is going to be over there in the Middle East, but nonetheless, there's going to be different theaters of the World War III, and as we lead up to that, there's going to be different posturings in different regions of the world. And right now, what you have Trump and Venezuela. Trump won Maduro, Nicolas Maduro, which is basically the protege of the former president Hugo Chavez, who was very much anti-America. When he died in 2013, I think, Nicolas Maduro took over, man. And since then, well, going back to the time of Chavez and after, now with Maduro, they've been wanting those guys out of the helm of Venezuela, man. You understand? Because Venezuela has the most proven oil reserves in the world, man. Very rich in natural resources. You understand? And they had a government for the longest, to this day, that's so-called against U.S. interests, man. They're also done with BRICS, Russia, China, so on and so forth. So, hey, Trump is the man. He's straight up going after Venezuela right now, man. With what he's right now doing strikes, so-called drug boats off the coast of Venezuela, man. You know what I mean? Which is right about around, which Trinidad is in that same region too. But he's right now striking so-called drug boats. And what did he do? He labeled those different cartels and stuff. Those different drug runners, drug organizations as what? Narco-terrorists, man. Which we all know the CIA and the DEA has historically been heavily involved in the whole drug trade coming from South America and Mexico and stuff, man. So we know that we know and we see the true play. The true play is what? He wants the oil in Venezuela, man. He wants to take over the natural resources and natural riches of Venezuela. Because like I said, Venezuela has the most proven oil reserves in the world. You understand? And really, Venezuela should be like a country, should be really like a Dubai or something like that with all the oil that they have. But we understand that what the Israelites, you Venezuelans are Israelites from the tribe of Asher. That's why your country and your people don't prosper like those different Middle Eastern oil oligarchs, man. So this is the book of Matthew chapter 24, verse. Matthew chapter 24, verse 6. And ye shall hear of wars and rumors of wars, come. So this whole conflict and potential conflict with Venezuela is another war and rumors of war. And really it's just the U.S. Trump, the king of Babylon, flexing their muscles, right? Because Venezuela don't really stand a chance against the U.S. military unless Russia and China steps in. But straight up confrontation with America, the U.S., especially under the rule of a man like DJ Trump. You see right here, like he said, land is next. So they're taking out the different drug boats at sea, so to speak. But he said, what, land is next? A land incursion in Venezuela, man. You understand? So we understand that, hey, this is something to watch closely to see how it's going to play out. Maybe Maduro just stepped down, or we're going to see, man. Or maybe come to actually military blows, man. Which you know is going to really be, like I said, like a massacre, so to speak, of the Venezuelan military, so to speak, unless Russia and China step in. This is book of Matthew chapter 24, but this is really just showing the dynamic of this so-called white man. He's a bully, yeah, man. He's a coward because really Venezuela is, the military don't compare, man. The U.S. military versus the Venezuelan military ain't no competition, man. But why? He's just a bully, man. He's a bully. He's a thief. John 10 and 10. He's after the what? The natural resources of Venezuela. You understand? He's heavily pushing the U.S. hegemony, man. Especially like what? Trump is what? A nationalist. So he's all about what advantage the U.S., particularly the elites of the U.S., the elites above him that gives him his marching orders, can benefit from it. One thing they can benefit from is what? Taking over Venezuela, installing a puppet who's gonna what? Give them all the access that they want to the natural, to the oil, man, to the oil reserves that Venezuela have and the different natural resources, and basically become what you call it, a vassal state down there in South America, man. Because like I said, Venezuela is really with Russia, man. Russia and China, they are part of that alliance right there, man, which is technically in America's backyard. So that's another geopolitical play right there. You're taking out an ally of your enemy that's in your backyard, man. Venezuela is right there in South America, the top of South America. And ye shall have wars and rumors of war, see that ye be not troubled, for all these things must come to pass. Because we understand these things must come to pass. All these things must come to pass. So we're not surprised by these things. And this thing has happened. These things have happened many a times in the Caribbean and in South America over the past decades. Recently you had Panama, you have Grenada, you even had Jamaica with the CIA being involved with like Michael Manley and Seaga going back to the 70s and the 80s. Understand? You had Nicaragua, so on and so forth. So the U.S. has been involved in those different wars and the whole drug pushing, drug running in South America, Central America, and the Caribbean, man. The political instability, you understand? Cuba, you had the whole Cuban Missile Crisis going back to the 60s and 70s, man. When Cuba was a strong Russian ally. And Cuba is really on the doorsteps of America, man. Understand? Even to this day, Cuba is still a strong ally of Russia, man. So who knows what can happen with that next with Cuba, man. You could go about Cuba next. Understand? So these are just things to watch on as these different empires, like you have Russia on one end, Russia and China on one end, and America on another end, jockey for the positioning in this third world war, man. Because what does war deal with? Logistics, positioning, trade routes. Because you have to get supply chains, because you have to get your supplies to your military, so on and so forth. So these are just geopolitical moves that the U.S. is making, man. Trying to oust Maduro, which is a staunch Russian ally, basically, man. I really did, like I said, this is the historical track record of the United States, man. So-called spreading a democracy. No, you really just want to take over these different countries for your own benefit. Vietnam, Iraq, Afghanistan. You're just taking them over to what? Plundering their natural resources. You know what I mean? Set up your military in order to come up against your other enemies like Russia, you know what I mean, Iran. That was a big thing, you know. They showed you the map of America encircling Iran for decades, man. Basically putting their military bases all around Iran. Because what we know, Iran is gonna be one of the main targets in this third world war. One of the main players, especially in the Middle East region. And we saw that. We saw a prelude of that with this whole Iran and Israel conflict recently, which that's gonna bubble back up again, more intense than before when it does again. So this is about Habakkuk chapter 2 verse 5. Habakkuk chapter 2 verse 5. Habakkuk 2 and 5. Yet also because he transgressed with wine is his philosophies and ideologies, like he pushing democracy, he pushing LGBTQ, so on. You have to accept these things, or else he might invade your country, he's cut you off from cut off your aid, so on and so forth. You become on the enemies list if you don't get down with the US agenda, the US way of living, the US philosophies, man. If you don't play ball, you understand? You don't cut them a deal. You don't give them your natural resources for the cheap. You don't allow them to exploit your people, exploit your natural resources. You understand? You don't get down with them, then hey, it's gonna be a problem. Yeah, also because he transgressed by one, he is a proud man. Hey, who's more proud than DJ Trump? DJ Trump, man. Him and Pete Hex, the Secretary of War, he said, yo, we're gonna kill you, man. He said, all you cartel members, we're gonna kill you. But I thought this was supposed to be the country and the people of love, the so-called white man America. But the Lord is pulling all that back, man. He's exposing everything. The Lord is showing you the true nature of these people, man. They push that love everybody spirit upon you, simple-minded Negroes, Latinos, and Native Americans. But in the meantime, they're utmost devil. They're full of anger and hate, and they willing to mow down and totally destroy their enemies, quote unquote. It's only you Negroes, Latinos, and Native Americans that accept that pacifist mentality. The so-called white man, no, he's about war. He's about domination. Habakkuk chapter 2 verse 5. Yet also because he transgressed by one, he is a proud man, neither keep it at home. Can't neither keep it at home. No. He down there in Venezuela, South America, Caribbean, Southern Caribbean, projected his hegemony, man. Trying to steal somebody else natural resources, someone else riches, man. Because he transgressed by one, he is a proud man, neither keep it at home, who enlarged his desire as health and is as death. Because that's what he's bringing down there to Venezuela, death, man. They took out like 10 boats already, man. So-called drug boats, as they say, man, which we don't know for sure, but hey, he ain't playing around, man. But that's this devil, man. He's unapologetic. He said, yeah, we're gonna kill you, man. You so-called narco terrorists. But we all know we put that on there to really what? Get rid of Maduro, man. So he can run things, man. He can take over, like I keep saying, the whole oil reserves, because Venezuela has the most proven oil reserves in the world. It's an OPEC nation, man. So we all know it's a whole play, man. Trying to demonize this guy Maduro, trying to demonize what's going on in Venezuela, so you can get up in there and what? Exploit, rape, rob, and murder, man. Exploit and put those people even in more slavery, man. You understand? Where the elites of America and America, the elites of America, Esau, Edom here in America, benefits from the natural resources of Venezuela, and Venezuelans don't get shit except for the sellouts down there. That's gonna link with our Esau, with the American government. That's the play, man. You know what I mean? They go in there, they oust the ruler, the strong man, like to say, the so-called dictator that's not down with the U.S. agenda, and then they put a puppet up in there with him and his little cronies. They get broken off. Really, scraps, and then the powers that be here in the U.S. They got all the riches, man. You know what I mean? So we see the play. We know the play is a whole historical play of the U.S., man. Especially in the last 60, 50 years, man. You understand? Probably put a military base down there in Venezuela, same way. But we see the play, man. So this is another thing to watch. This whole happening in Venezuela. But like I said, if it comes to blows, unless China and Russia step in, which they probably won't, but they might step in on a covert tip. But ultimately, they're gonna blow this guy to hell, man. Maduro, man. The American military is gonna crush Venezuela, which is really beautiful, because that's really the Lord pumping this man up with more pride, man. Pumping him with more bravado, so that when the Lord take him out the Lord's name is magnified even more. Romans 9:9 and 17. So yeah, you might just take over Venezuela. And you get this guy out, install your puppet leader, and you running things in Venezuela. Trump is such a proud devil. He gonna be bragging about it. He be like, yeah, we taking the oil. You know what I mean? We doing what we gotta do in Venezuela, man. You know what I mean? I can see him saying that. We doing what we got to do, man. We making money off Venezuela now, man, and it's benefiting the so-called United States. I can see him straight up saying that, man. So that's just me. The Lord what pumping it Esau up with more pride, man, which is a beautiful thing. Because what the scripture say, pride goes before what? A fall. Habakkuk chapter 2 verse 5. Yeah, also, because he transgressed by wine, he is a proud man. Now that keep it at home, who enlarged his desire as hell and is as death, and cannot be satisfied. God said this man is not satisfied. And cannot be satisfied, but gather it unto him all nations, and heap it unto him all people. And going to what? America being a whole melting pot. All nations are people here. Which all nations are people here are really just servants to the elites of Esau Edom. You're nothing but another slave to Esau Edom. And that's ultimately the goal of Esau Edom, the elites, to enslave the whole world. That's why we know what? The RFID chip system, which is going to be a global thing. The elites, different parts of the world, they're going to implement this system, man. This Mark of the Beast system, Revelation 13 and 60. And that's going to go hand in hand with this whole World War 3. I mean, the elites of these different nations are jockeying for ultimate world domination, New World Order. So all of this is part of it, man. These different plays that you see going on. So you have to keep your eyes locked to these different prophecies and understand what's going on and get understanding for yourself on how this thing is going to play out, how the historical context of this, so on and so forth. You understand? But ultimately, this ain't the main theater of World War III, but nonetheless, it is a theater, man. You know what I mean? It is something to still keep an eye on. It's not a main thing, so to speak. You know what I mean? Trump invading Venezuela, taking on Maduro is not. It's not like how would I say? It's not a major thing, but it's something to watch because it's part of the major play of Esau Edom here in America being lifted up with pride. Esau Edom, the wars and rumors of wars. It's just another chink in the armor to say, yeah, this is the man, man. This is the man. Job 9:24. The earth is given into the hand of the wicked. And like I said, this whole thing, ultimately to take this guy out and usurp Venezuela, it's just building Esau Edom up with more pride. Like the scriptures say, pride goes before a fall, man. So it's a beautiful thing to see, man. And so ultimately, you Venezuelans, you right anyways, man. You bugged out, man. You worshiping Caesar Borgia, you're not worshiping Yahweh Hashem Yahushua. And we know the truth hit out there, man. You know what I mean? Because there's brothers in Colombia and South America. There's brothers on the YouTube pushing the truth in Spanish. So you really have no excuse. So any type of hell that come your way, and even your Trinidad is right there too. And we know we have the beloved brothers in Trinidad doing their thing. Because this is going to affect Trinidad too, more than likely. Any type of military incursion. They out there. You Trinities, you in right need them, man. Because you have the brothers out there for years now, man. Over decades, man. Over a decade, I believe, or more. You know what I mean? So any type of hell that come your way, with this whole conflict with Venezuela, and Trinidad getting dragged in, hey, that's your ass, man. Because you're not right no way. But hey, the Lord is going to protect and be with the men of the Lord out there in Trinidad. Same way. But like I said, hey, this is another thing to watch. Another theater of World War III. This time in the Latin America, Caribbean theater, which the U.S. is trying to consolidate dominion over this side of the world because this is their so-called backyard, man. They don't want a Russian ally with type of oil reserves that Venezuela have. They don't want that. They don't want that over here, man. So hey, it only makes sense that they're gonna try to usurp Venezuela and probably get this guy out of there, Maduro. Like I said, unless China and Russia steps in full force, is more than likely gonna go the U.S. way. hey, somebody watch who's next, maybe Cuba. You understand? So keep your eyes locked to the prophecies and to the happenings, the current events, especially as it concerns the geopolitical moves and the RFID chip, the digital currency. Hey, so with that, I want to say all praises be to Abanawa, Yahweh, Bahashim, Yahweh Shai, Bahashim, Harakah, Kodash, double honors to the apostles, elders of Great Millstone who rule well, Shalom to the elect, Kwame Ashala, Abba,